What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the 2nd Street Marvel. Now, a few weeks ago on one of my live streams, I literally trashed a comic book. Let me tell you, this book right here, I mean, that's all I've got to say about it. And I felt it was only right to bring you guys a review and tell you exactly what I didn't like about this book. Now, before I get into that, if this is your first time here, please make sure you're subscribed, click the little bell, and all that good stuff. And if you could, please do me a favor. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you don't like it, feel free to leave the thumbs down. I honestly don't really care. But also leave some feedback whether you do or don't like this video. Now, as I said a few weeks ago, I literally trashed Marvel Comics Giantman issue number 1. Let me give you a little bit of the backstory of what has been going on so far. So the War of the Realms, Malekith, who is the king of the Dark Elves, has went and conquered 9 of the 10 realms. Along the way, he has gained some allies, no doubt by making them offers they couldn't refuse. So he saved Midgard for last, and they came out full force when they made their attack. Now, this book is written by Leah Williams. It is drawn by Marco Castiello. We got Rochelle Rosenberg on colors, and the lettering is done by VC's Joe Sabino. So Giantman basically picks up not too soon after the attack on the Earth. We see that Freya, who is the Allmother of Asgard and the adopted mother of Loki, going to Scott Lang and asking him to team up with Giantman, Goliath, and Atlas to infiltrate Frost Giant Land and go into kill Ymir, who is the god architect of the primal frost giants. She believes that he's the one who has been building the army that they are using to keep a stronghold over the earth. Now, what I didn't really like about this issue was more of the language than anything else. It just seemed to push the story and the narrative along in a very funny way. A lot of the dialogue just seemed unnatural, and some of it actually seemed like something like a conversation that people would be having through tweets and texts. So in the beginning, we see Freya, who is the Allmother of Asgard, going to Scott Lang and asking him to go on this mission. Now, the premise upon which she sets them to go out on this mission is more of a mission of revenge. She wants them to go kill Ymir, who is building the army. She wants them to go kill him under the premise of revenge because she believes that Ymir is the only one to which Laufey, who killed Loki, she believes that he is the only one to which Laufey holds any affections. Now, to me, this just seems a little bit odd. I mean, 9 of the 10 realms have been conquered, the earth is getting ready to be conquered, and you're worried about a mission of revenge instead of just telling them, like, this is the dude building the army, go kill him so we have a chance of winning. And then not only that, turn the next page, she's actually telling Scott, like, hey, if you go and succeed in your mission, I promise you that you will see your daughter again. And she's just kind of basically making promises that she can't really keep. And I don't know, like I said, it just seemed like the wrong premise to set them out on the mission when they're trying to win a war, not just some selfish revenge battle. I don't know, it just seemed a little odd to me. Then we go ahead and we turn the page where all the guys are starting to meet up. We see Scott Lang and Roz, who is Giantman, are getting together and they're just kind of catching up. You can tell they know each other. And then in walks Tom Foster with his attitude and everything, and hey, I get it, dude's in the right mindset to go and do some assassinations. He walks in and he's like, hey, what's going on here? Is this summer camp? And, so they're sitting there kind of conversating, and then in walks Eric Jostin, who is Atlas, and he comes in stomping, just making a bunch of noise, and they're like, hey man, calm down, you're gonna get us all busted. And just some more weird dialogue here. Scott Lang says, like, hey, I kind of respect that he introduced himself to us cock first. Who talks like this? I honestly don't know. So then we turn the page as they're formulating their plan. They're getting ready to go into infiltrate this frost giant town so they can get some supplies so they can continue on their journey. So as they're doing this, they're having to get up to size to match the size of frost giants. And of course, they're making a bunch of size jokes and everything. And again, we can see that Tom Foster and Scott Lang are butting heads. And like I said, I don't know who talks like this. The dialogue seemed it just seemed unnatural. Very, very odd. So then they're going into this frost giant town. Now, mind you, the frost giants have a stronghold over the earth along with everybody else. The earth has basically been overrun. So they get into this town and they see, you know, as they're walking through town to go into the marketplace to buy supplies, they see that they have some humans enslaved. And Tom Foster actually starts to get a little pissed, and he loses his cool and shrinks down to human size. Now this all happened while they were in the market, and some of the frost giants there are beginning to suspect that these guys are not who they say they are. So they're like, hey, what the hell's going on here? And you know, Scott Lang is like, what are you talking about? They're like, your friend, you know, what's with this human? And he goes, oh, well, that's my manservant. And he goes, well, why is he naked? And he says, oh, well, do you clothe your own manservants? So they end up, you know, he improvised, they got out of the situation. We can see over the whole next page that Tom Foster is not happy with Scott Lang, who he's already butting heads with. And the dialogue here just seems too on the nose, you know, like Scott Lang basically tells him like, hey man, what's with all the attitude? And he's like, oh, well, you know, that stuff back there about the manservant, that sure came out pretty fast, you know, almost like it was just there ready to say, you know. And Scott's like, dude, like, what other option did I have? And so then next thing you know, they're standing there in front of some dog kennels that the frost giants have their ice hounds in. And Eric Jostin, over his affection of puppies, goes up to pet one, and he starts barking and biting at him, and just odd dialogue. Just nobody talks. I don't get who talks like this, but you know, they're telling him like, hey Eric, come on man, and he literally says, blame the owner, not the breed. And he says, this dog is a reflection of its owners and things like that. And I'm just like, like, okay, like I get it, yes, but to me this reads just like a conversation somebody is having like on Facebook in like a dog group, or you know, some kind of post like that where people are just having odd dialogue, and that's kind of how this whole thing seemed. And so obviously, you know, he's sitting there and being all affectionate for the puppy dogs, and the frost giants once again chase him out of town because the ice hounds alerted the frost giants, and they're like, hey, what's going on over here? So the guys have to make a daring escape. We've all seen a bad movie, and I actually went out and bought Giantman issue number 2, and you know what? They actually reeled it in this issue. They actually went through and let some of the story tell the narrative. There comes a situation in issue number 2 where they have to go, basically there's these frost giants who don't want to let them pass. They gotta basically pay the toll. So what happens is Tom Foster goes in and just starts singing a Dolly Parton song, and they're like, hey man, why don't you guys just come and hang out with us tonight? So they go and they stay the night at this frost giant camp. And while they're there, you know, you can see that these dudes are just drinking a lot of beer, and they're singing a bunch of like folk songs, and they're just basically like a bunch of hillbillies. Now, not one person throughout the whole story said that these guys are hillbillies or anything. They let the story and everything that was going on tell that. Like, I was reading it, and I'm like, these guys are hillbillies. It's pretty obvious. Nobody made any mention of that whatsoever in this book. So I don't know, maybe you guys need to go out and check out these issues for yourself. A lot of it in that first issue was just odd dialogue. The situations just seemed, I don't know, it just all seemed artificial. To me, as a reader, as a fan, it just seemed like there was too much on the nose, and the dialogue just did not seem natural. Now, if you've read these books, let me know what you think down in the comments below. That's all I really have for this video. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Second Street Marvel today. Now, as I said, please make sure you're subscribed and click the little bell so you get notifications anytime that I have uploaded new content. And also clicking that little bell sends out notifications anytime I plan on doing a live video. I do a live video every single Friday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time called the Trailer Park Live, where basically I kind of go over some of the comic books that I pulled for the week. I talk about them, and then I get in and talk about some of the rumors regarding movies, music, and comic books, and just going over live chats and with everybody there that is on the show. It is always a good time. I sure hope to see you all there one day. Like I said, thank you all for tuning into this video. Like I said, please do me a favor and give it a thumbs up, and if you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. And if you could, also make sure you share it with a friend and tell them to come hang out with us here on the Second Street Marvel. You all have a very good day and happy reading. Later.